I'm Dragi Petrovic. I live in Belgrade. Belgrade is full of pigeons, wild and domestic. People of Belgrade get on well with the pigeons. I've been a pigeon breeder since '47. I can remember the pair of pigeons I started with. They were given me for my birthday by my uncle, Vidosav. There are plenty of us in Belgrade who go in for pigeon raising. But as far as I know, I'm the only pigeon breeder among taxi drivers. Don't want to boast, but I'm proud to be known among Belgrade taxi drivers for another thing, apart from the pigeons. Taxi drivers in Belgrade now number several thousand, but there were only 3 at one time. Well, my grandpa, Dragutin Petrovic, is one of the first 3 Belgrade cabbies. It's long since cars have made the Petrovics tick, since the time they could be counted on the fingers of one hand. I'm sad to think I shall have to leave the Belgrade streets for good. I've been out driving day in and day out for nearly 40 years, watching the town and myself change, except that it's been becoming larger and more attractive and me growing older. But that's the way the things are. When I was younger, I ran new, fast cars to get about and make profit quickly. This Citroen, which my father used to drive, had been parked in the garage. 3 years ago, I finally made the Citroen spick and span again and drove it out in the big way. It must have been amazed at the way Belgrade had changed. There was nowhere to be seen the city that my father drove it through. There were no fears of old Belgrade either, just some folk constantly being busy and in a hurry. Visitors to Belgrade now come from all over the world. Most of them, I believe, come to attend various meetings, seminars, congresses, or to do business with some Belgrade firm or other. I wouldn't have known one such was a fare of mine if I hadn't seen him on television later. They said, so-and-so, a businessman from Holland. I said to my wife, I drove this one today from his hotel to Sava Center. She didn't say a word, just looked at me, and I knew what she meant. My fares, those who don't come from Belgrade, often ask me something about Belgrade's history, about some old buildings we're passing by. I and my Citroen know the city inside out, but the history of Belgrade goes back 7,000 years, and it often beats me. I usually tell them Belgrade is very old as a settlement, that it has an interesting and eventful past, which has left traces worth seeing. I mention places and museums they should go to if they are interested in history, culture, and things of that sort. To tell you the truth, I don't like saying the word museum too much. It reminds me that in the middle of all this hustle and bustle, I and my car are all but museum pieces by now. I spent all my life in Belgrade. I know it like the back of my palm. The seething, noisy, fast-living Belgrade, just as the calm, quiet Belgrade relaxing on the banks of its two rivers, its parks, tree-lined streets, among its pigeons. If they ask me which of the two faces of Belgrade I like best, I wouldn't be able to tell. I like both. A school friend, Milan Novakovic, took me once to a football ground to watch a training session. He was an excellent fullback, sharp as knife. He fell in love and gave it all up, otherwise he would have won a cup. Since that training session, I've hardly missed a match in Belgrade, especially when I was younger. You see, if you like sport, to watch or take part in it, Belgrade is the place for it, just as it is the place for many other things besides. My rule is, I don't take the cab out 2 Friday evenings a month. That's the time I go to the cinema or theatre. I adore the play D'Undo Mare and the film Gone with the Wind. Speaking of the cinema, a couple of evenings ago, my fears were that Italian actress and her husband. Their names have slipped my mind. They were filming in Belgrade. It was in the papers. Well, yes, I was telling you that I took them from one place to another until after midnight. They said they wanted to see the nightlife of Belgrade. Fine, cultured people they were. I never was one for nightlife. There was no time. Sometimes I would go out for supper, and that's all. Driving the cab has been my nightlife and my day life. But I've been driving people around to these places, and I'm glad there are plenty of them in Belgrade, to everyone's heart's desire. But nowadays, I rarely work at night.
Soile Manole, dig 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 radoj. Soile Manole, dig 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 radoj. Dođi mi, dođi, Dragane.
Belgrade has been changing in front of my eyes, has grown larger and more beautiful. Yet, I'm sad that some things are no more. The old Belgrade, which now lives only on old photographs and in our memories, had a charm all its own, and its cabbies. It's hard on a taxi driver, one of the Petroviches, to be taken on a ride around Belgrade by somebody else. But that's how it is. Everything in its own day.